Hi, and welcome to this section of the Basic Math Word Problem Tutor. And in this section of the course, we're going to talk about word problems that involve addition of decimals. Okay? So the good news is, if you've been with me since the beginning of this course, the very first section we did was addition of whole numbers and word problems that involve addition of whole numbers. Okay? Now we've gone through a few more sections, and now we're talking about addition of decimals. Okay, problems that involve adding decimals. The good news is that all of the tricks of the trade that you learned for the addition of whole numbers is exactly the same for this. The only difference between these problems and those problems is that these problems are going to have decimals in them, but everything else is the same. So everything you already learned about when to add things together in word problems is going to apply to this. You'll just be adding decimals here. You know, you'll be adding 13.5 and 10.9 instead of whole numbers like 2 and 4, okay? So there's no difference is what I'm trying to say. This section of the course is really just here to give you practice with some decimals and also give you some more practice with the word problems. But it's no different in thinking about it and trying to figure out what to do than what you've already done before. So there's really no new material here other than the fact that all of these problems are going to have decimals in them. So just relax. If you understood the first section, this section will be very easy for you, and you'll just be getting some practice with the decimals. So the first problem goes like this. A car is 13.5 feet long and tows a boat that is 17.3 feet long. What is the total length of the car-boat combination? So I have a car that's 13.5 feet long and it's towing a boat that's 17.3 feet long, and I'm trying to find what is the total length. So that's one of those keywords. What is the total length? The total length of the car plus the boat. So I know I'm going to be doing some addition here, and that's what we're going to do. So here, you know, you have a car here. Just to draw yourself a little picture sometimes is a really good thing to do. Here's a car, okay, and it's towing a boat, which is, you know, big boat here. Okay, that's a boat. And, you know, the car is 13.5 feet, and the boat is 17.3 feet. Okay, and the question is, what is the total length of the car-boat combination? So I need to add them together because I have 13.5 feet, or 17.3 feet and 13.5 feet, and to find the total length of the two, you have to add them together. Okay, so let's do that. Let's say we have 13.5, and let's go ahead and write our unit just like we always do. 13.5 what? 13.5 feet plus 17.3 feet, and we'll add them together. And one thing I want to point out as we get started here that's very important is when you're adding decimals together, this decimal point here, okay, you must line it up. That's the only way you can add decimals together. So when you, and we'll see this in a bunch of problems here, but every time you add decimals together, these decimal points must be right on top of each other. So you have to align it so that those decimal points are there, and then you can add. Okay? Then you can add. All right, so let's start on the right-hand column like we always do. What's 5 plus 3? Starting with 5, adding 3 more. 6, 7, 8. Okay? So I'm going to put an 8 down here. Okay? When I'm adding decimals, the decimal point just falls straight down through to the bottom. So I really don't have to do any thinking. The decimal point just falls right on through. Now moving to the 7. 7 plus 3, starting at 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to be 10. I'm going to put a 0 here and carry the 1. Okay, and now I'll work on this column. 1 plus 1 plus 1, I think you'll all know, is 3. So the answer is 30.8 what? 30.8 feet. Okay? Feet plus feet give me feet. 30.8 feet. So if I take this boat and I add the car length to it, the total distance here is 30.8 feet. Okay? So you see it's the same thing that we've already done before as far as adding and knowing when to add and knowing what it means. Okay? It's just that you have some decimals here and you'll get some practice with dealing with the decimals. So the next problem says a box is 23.4 inches high. Another box is placed on top, and that one is 11.7 inches high. What is the height of the two boxes put together? See, there's another keyword. What is the height put together? That tells you that you're going to be adding these things together Okay, when you find something, what is the total length or the total height of something put together? So if you wanted to draw a picture, you would say, okay, here's a box. This box is 23.4 inches high, okay? And you have another box on top, and this box is shorter, so let me make it shorter. And this box, which is just that height right there, is 11.7 inches high. Okay, this box is 11.7 inches high, and it says, what is the height of the two boxes put together? That means this box plus this box. So I must add these two numbers together in order to find the answer. So let's do that. 11.7, and you always want to carry down that it's inches, because you want to have your units, plus 23.4 inches. Okay, I'm going to add them together. And notice I'll line the decimal points right on top of each other, because I have to do that when I'm adding decimals. Okay? Now let's start in the right-hand column. 7 plus 4. You can use your fingers, or you can just memorize that, starting at 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? So I'm going to put down 11, carry the 1 to the next column. Okay? Now let's work in this column. 3 plus 1 gives you 4, plus 1 more gives you 5. So you just put a 5 there, here. And don't forget, your decimal point just falls right on down through. You don't have to do any thinking, decimal point just falls through. So we're done with this column. Let's move to this one. 2 plus 1 gives me 3. So it's 35.1 inches plus inches gives me inches. 35.1. That's the total height of the two boxes put together. Okay? So you see, it's the same thing. Adding decimals is really the same exact thing as adding numbers. It's just that this decimal point drops down. Everything else is the same. 7 plus 4 gave us 11, carried the 1. Add this up, 3 plus 1 plus 1 gave us the 5. 2 plus 1 gave us the 3. It's the same thing as far as the adding. It's just that the decimal point drops down. The next problem says a candy bar costs 75 cents and a bag of chips costs $1.50. How much money do you need to purchase both items? So here's where you have to really think about the problem to know what to do with it. I'm going into the store and I want to buy a candy bar. The candy bar costs 75 cents. The bag of chips costs $1.50, and I need to know how much money I need to bring into the store. So I need to add these two things together so that I know the total amount of money that I need in order to add these, in order to buy both of these items. Okay? So when it says how much money do you need to purchase both of them, you know you need to add, because I need to know how much money to bring into the store. Okay? So 0.75, and that's dollars. And this is for the candy. Okay? And I'm going to add to it $1.50. And this is also dollars. Okay, so here are my units. 0.75, which is 75 cents, which is a dollar. $0.75. And $1.50 is $1.5. Okay? I'm going to add them together. Okay? So, starting in the right-hand column, 5 plus 0 gives you 5. Now I'm done with that one. Moving on, 7 plus 5, starting at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's going to be 12. So I'm going to put 2, carry the 1. Now I'm going to go to this column. 1 plus 0 plus 1 is going to give you 2. And anytime you're adding decimals, you just drop the decimal point right on down. And so the answer is $2.25. Okay? What you should remember just from your coins and money and all that, that's $2.25. Okay? $2.25. $2.25 is $2.25. So you had the 75 cents for the candy bar, $1.50 for the chips, and you just add them up. And you just have to work from the right to the left. 5 plus 0 gave us 5. 7 plus 5 gave us 12. Carry the 1, and you add this up and you get the 2. Now the next problem says the post office made 4 deliveries today. 4 deliveries. The distances he drove were 3.51 miles, 2.72 miles, 4.08 miles, and 1.20 miles. What is the total distance traveled? So that one's a dead giveaway. The last sentence says, what is the total distance traveled? Well, that pretty much tells you right there you're going to be adding them together, the total distance. So we want to add up all of these distances. It's a lot of distances, so you might say, well, geez, this is going to be complicated. It's really not going to be any more complicated than anything else. 3.51 miles, okay, 2.72 miles, 4.08 miles, and 1.20 miles. And look at the way I've lined up the decimals. All the decimals have to be lined up when you're adding decimals together, okay? So starting in the right-hand column, 8 plus 2 gives us what? Starting at 8, 9, 10, okay? Plus 1 more gives us 11. So 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 1 more gives us 11. Put the 1, carry a 1. Okay? Now we move to this column, okay? Let's start with 7 plus 2 because that's easy, starting with 7, adding 2 more, 8, 9. 7 plus 2 gives me 9. 9 plus 5, starting with 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that's the 5, plus 1 4, 1 more gives me 15. So that's 15, carry the 1. When you add all these numbers together, and you can do that on your fingers, you should get 15. Okay? Now let's move on to this column here. Okay? 1 plus 4 gives me 5, plus 2 more, starting at 5, 6, 7, okay, 7, plus 3 more, 8, 9, 10, plus 1 more, 11, okay? So I'll put 11 down here. And the decimal point just falls right on through, okay? So it's it's 11.51 miles. And that's why we carry our miles down, because it reminds us what we're doing. Miles plus miles plus miles plus miles gives me miles. Start at the right column, add them up, carry the 1, add all of these up, you get 15, carry the 1, add all of these up, you get 11. The next problem says you mix 2.72 ounces of milk with 3.49 ounces of orange juice. How many total ounces do you have? And you see that last sentence is a dead giveaway. How many total ounces do you have? So you know that you're going to have to add up the amount of milk with the amount of orange juice to get to the final answer, because it's asking you how many total ounces do you have. So in order to do that, you have 2.72 ounces, okay, of milk, and you're adding it to 3.49 ounces of orange juice, OJ, and you'll add these together. So starting in the right-hand column, 9 plus 2, starting at 9, 10, 11. Okay, so I'm going to put the 1, carry the 1, because I have to put 11 down there, carry the 1. Move on to the next column. Okay, 7 plus 4, starting at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, plus 1 more gives me 12. Put a 2, carry the 1. Okay, and my decimal point just falls right on down there, and now I move on to this column. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So it's 6.21 ounces of milk plus OJ. And that's what I did. I'm mixing milk with orange juice. So this is how many total ounces I have. Okay, so I start out with 2.72 ounces of milk. I add 3.49 ounces of orange juice. Total amount I have is 6.21 ounces of milk plus orange juice, or a mixture of milk and orange juice. Okay, and the next problem says a container can hold 2 liters of liquid water. Okay, at 10 a.m. you pour 1.2 liters of water into the container, and at 4 p.m. you pour an additional 0.9 liters into the container. Will the container overflow with water? Is the question. So you have a container here. It'll hold 2 liters or something, and then you start pouring liquid in. And this is a great example of some extra numbers given in a problem you don't even need. At 10 a.m., which is just sometime in the morning, you pour 1.2 liters into the container, and then later in the afternoon you pour 0.9 more liters into the container. And the question is, will the container overflow? Okay? So if you think about what you're trying to do here, all you have to do is figure out how much liquid you pour into the container total. You'll be adding up the number of liters, and you just see if that's more or less than the amount of water the container can hold. Okay, So what would happen if we just add 1.2 liters, okay, to the 0.9 liters that I add in the afternoon? Okay, let's see what I get here when I add. This is how much I add in the morning, and this is how much I add in the afternoon. So I'm adding them together, starting in the right column. 9 plus 2 more is 10, 11. Okay, so that's 11, carry the 1. My decimal point drops down just like this, and I work in this column. 1 plus 1 gives me 2. Okay, 2.1 what? It's 2.1 liters. You always want to remember what you're doing. It's 2.1 liters. Now the container can hold the container can hold 2 liters. So since I poured 2.1 liters in, it will overflow. Okay, so this is a good example. This problem had a lot of nice things going on. It told me I did something at 10 a.m. and also at 4 p.m. So that's extra numbers in there that I didn't need at all. And I also knew that the container held 2 liters, so what do I do with that? So all you have to do is add up the number of liters of water I poured in, and since it's greater than the amount the container can hold, yes, the container will overflow. Okay, the last problem in this section says you have a $5 bill in your pocket. At the store, you would like to purchase chips for $1.75, and you'd like to purchase water for $2.25 and napkins for 75 cents. Do you have enough money? Okay, so you only have $5. You're going to go in the store. The chips cost $1.75. The water costs $2.25, and the napkins cost 75 cents. So what we need to do here is we need to add up the total cost of everything and see if we have enough money in our pocket to cover it. Okay, so the chips are $1.25. Okay, and this is for chips. So I'm just writing down to remember what this is. The water is $2.25. And that's for water. Okay, and the napkins is 75 cents, which is the same as $0.75. Okay, and all I have to do is really add these together to see where I stand. So let's start in the right hand column. 5 plus 5 gives us 10, plus 5 more gives us 15. Okay, I think you should convince yourself of that. 5 plus 5 gives you 10. 10 plus 5 gives you 15. Put the 5, carry the 1. Okay? Now let's go in the middle column. 7 plus 2, starting at 7, 8, 9. So I've got 9 right here. Plus 2 more, 10, 11. Plus 1 more for 12. 12. So that went a little too fast. Let's do it again. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. The decimal point just falls right on through to the bottom. And now I'm in this column. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So starting at 2, plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So the answer is $4.25, or $4.25. So I have $5, because the problem says I have $5, so I have enough. Okay, so we just added everything up that we would like to purchase, and that comes out to $4.25, which is $4.25. I have $5 in my pocket, which is what the problem says. So the question is, do I have enough money? And the answer is yes, I do have enough money, because the total amount of what I would like to purchase is less than what I have in my back pocket. So I do have enough money to purchase this. So in this section, we have tackled the subject of word problems involving adding decimals together. And you see the skills here are really exactly the same as the addition of the word problems we've done before with the whole numbers. The same keywords you look for, the same logic you're trying to apply, really the same thing you're doing. It's just that in these cases, you've got problems that have decimals, and so we're getting a little bit of practice with adding decimals. But even that isn't really that hard, because you're doing the same exact addition, it's just that the decimal falls through to your answer. So it's really no different either. It's not very hard, and I think with some practice, you will get the hang of it.